All right, there you go, Rick. Told you we'd do them together, so I dug it out. I didn't want Matt to start making fun of me either, so. So anyway, I guess we're gonna pick it back up on the Nova. And yeah, I'm not gonna get as carried away as it's gonna still be old school, but it was fun before. It'll be fun again. So I guess we're gonna get some lights. Han's gonna put some lights in for us tomorrow. So, but we got the 9-inch in here with the 430 gear, and I'm gonna get some of the something in there and do the fender wells and stuff. I got it all cleaned and DP40'd. It's all epoxy primer, etch primed, all that good stuff in there. So we're gonna put some protection in there. So get that going, and it's gonna be pretty basic in here. It's gonna get some seats. Used to have a roll cage, we cut that out. So I gotta clean that up a little bit. Still has frame connectors and all that stuff underneath it. We're gonna leave all that stuff under there. Probably try to get away with no roll cage for a while. See how that goes. So I don't know, we're gonna be putting a big block in here. It's always had a small block. But I've got the big block now, so we'll go ahead and stick it in there and see what it does. Might not like all that gear back there, but it might. So anyway, we got new quarters on here, new outer wheel houses. It's been mini tubbed. The shocks are moved to the inside. The frame's been moved over. Actually, just a big chunk where the shock used to bolt, you know, it's just moved over to the frame rail there. Yeah, Ford 9-inch mono leaf with a slapper bar. We're gonna leave those on there. They always work pretty good. We got a couple holes to weld up down here in the rocker panel. So we gotta make some patches for that. And shouldn't be too bad. There's frame connectors on it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Lighting's pretty shitty. But it's got frame connectors on it. It's got the relocating kit. It's a Competition Engineering. It moves the springs in the back so you can run a bigger tire. So you can get a pretty big tire under this car. Usually run a 9-inch slick on it, or I don't know what the tires would be nowadays. They used to be called EC1 from Curry's. Work pretty good with a big tread on them. So yeah, I get some bolts and hang some doors on there and get all the sheet metal lined up, and I guess we'll start going to town on this. We're sort of in a holding pattern on the Volkswagen, so I figured we'll work on this a little bit in between. And Hans is gonna be working on the boat for us. I'm gonna cut the floor. I don't know if I'm gonna do too much with this firewall. You know, this is pretty much a race car. I'm gonna have to seal up some of the holes in it, obviously. Had a lot of nitrous lines and stuff going through the firewall, but I don't think we're gonna use all that stuff anymore. Gotta get a wiper motor for it. Just never had wipers. Little stuff. We've got all the electrical, and I have some new fuel line and all that crap for it. So got some new control arm bushings, so I guess we'll be putting those in. Little trick on those, and ball joints. If you freeze them, they go right in. I mean, you got to knock them out, obviously, but I've seen some guys struggle with those. It was a little trick that I learned. If you put the bushing, and it works for a ball joint too. Anything that's pressed in, put it in the freezer overnight, deep freeze, get it nice and frozen. It'll usually shrink the part enough where it'll almost push in by hand. And sometimes you actually got to hit the part with a little torch, you know, to get it swell, you know, to get it back to temperature. So that's where we're at on this. I'm gonna come out here and do some cleaning and all that good stuff. Figure out what all this chrome molding goes to. Obviously not this car. I think that stuff's for my Ford truck or something, I don't know. But yeah, we'll get this going. Hans likes working on this, so we can get him to put some hours in on it. Got to do some seam sealing. Got all the seam sealer off. All the little seams are exposed right now, so we got it in 2K primer. So I guess we'll start by putting some paint on the chassis, you know, getting that going. Just the basic stuff, you know. Matt, there's my box. It's a manual box too. This is an original big block SS car. So those manual boxes are hard to get. They're the only ones that'll clear the headers for a big block too. You know, if you buy decent headers. I guess you can get the street headers, you know, with the small tubes. I've got some Super Comp hookers for this thing. I don't know where they're at. They're buried back here somewhere. Yeah, buried in Never Land. Back there against the wall. But they're pretty decent. A buddy of mine donated those to me. All my buddies want me to change over to this big block, so I'd like to find a 4-speed for it, but we'll probably just go with the Turbo 400. That's what I have, so I got a couple mild stall converters, you know, 3000 stall, 2500, I don't know. Trying to pick a cam still. Was talking to Matt about camshafts this afternoon or yesterday. So probably gonna end up going with a roller. So Hans took all this stuff out. Hopefully he knows where it all goes. He does have all the bolts in a bag. That's good. Still got the clutch pedal in here. Just got a tack in the dash. Got to clean all that up. You can't even see through the plastic now. But yeah, this is a pretty cool car. There's some of the carnage I was telling you about, Matt. That's where the starter ring came through right there, that little hole. I had the tranny explode in this. I had a power glide and it just it completely blew up, wrinkled the whole floor up. The only thing that was left when I opened the hood was the tail housing. There was no drive shaft, nothing. So that was pretty cool. That was a fun ride. So we got the Beetle back here. Gives us a little more room. A little more room. It's a little easier to get around. We got to dig our doors and stuff out of here. And I got to weld these fenders up. That's where we left off. So that's the first thing. We'll probably work on that tomorrow. Welding some holes up. I'm going to go ahead and weld all the molding holes up. I don't know if they welded it, if they drilled those holes in at the factory or what the deal was, because the quarter panels didn't come with holes. But and the doors didn't have holes, I don't think, but the fenders did. So I don't know what the deal is there. Maybe one of you Nova experts would know. I don't think the doors had them. No, because they were stripped to metal. That's epoxy primer. So just on the fenders. So I know this car probably came with a body molding, and it had those little chrome dealies, and it had an SS hood that I actually gave away because it used to have a cow hood on it that blew off when I was coming back from Pennsylvania. A buddy of mine was driving the truck, and we stopped to get gas, and there was no hood on the car. He's like, I didn't see a thing. So hope nobody died. It was a lightweight fiberglass hood, so probably just blew in a million pieces when they hit it. Anywho, that's where we're at. I'm not going to make this too long so I can get this uploaded. What's up, boy? You saw the camera was on? You want to get in the video? You know, there's guys that watch this that don't like cats. Cat haters. Yeah. You looking for that other cat? Meow. Alright guys, yeah, we gotta get this deck lid for the race car. That's a stock deck lid with another deck lid cut into it with some nice 1980 louvers. That's old school, baby. Old school. It's all metal though. What is it, Kiki? Yeah, it's all TIG welded. Pretty nice stuff. There you go. All TIGged. All hand built, lubered, painted on the inside. Usually I don't paint my cars on the inside. This never made it on the car for some reason. Another project I gotta do. Yeah. It goes back there. What is a cat? Meow. Yeah, this thing's got the Delco Marine front brakes, the disc brakes. We'll be using the stock brakes. This thing stops really good. But I do want to take this vacuum off. What do you want? So I'm going to look into that. Matt turned me on to a place that might have a conversion kit to go from the power brakes to the manual. So I definitely want to do that. Get rid of that big clump there. And I don't think the motor, well, the small block never made enough vacuum to really make it work right. So the big block might be a little better on the vacuum, depending on what cam we go with. But the small block was pretty radical in this thing, so never really had good power brakes. What do you want, boy, huh? What in the world happened to your head? You got a big hole in the top of your head. Crazy cat. Crazy cat. Alright guys, I'm gonna let you go. And so we'll be working on this for a little while. And yeah, we'll do a couple of videos on this and see how that goes. And yeah, I just wanted to say I didn't really mean to piss anybody off with a bumper thing. You know, we all got the ways we do stuff and our opinions on things. So that's what keeps it going, makes it fluid, you know. So I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way, you know. Whatever you're comfortable with, that's the way you should do it. You know, as a consumer, taking your car and having it repaired, obviously, maybe the iCar classes have changed since, let's see, when was the NACE show? Oh. I just took about 3 or 4 classes a couple weeks ago, so, but anywho, back to the, you know, opinion thing. It's good that people have different opinions, but it's really what you're comfortable with. And like I said, I'm not really working at a body shop. I'm retired now. You know, I did that for 25 years, and my time to do that stuff's over. But what it comes down to is all those iCar classes and programs that you techs take are driven by the insurance company when it comes down to it. You know, they were the originators of it. They made the classes mandatory so you could qualify for their programs, you know, so you could get their jobs in your shop, and you had to have X amount of techs that were certified. And that's how I became certified in the early days. It didn't cost anything. You just take the class. You know, they buy the pizza. You go take a class 3 or 4 nights a week after work. And, you know, eventually now they charge you for the classes. So a lot of the classes that, you know, I took in the early days aren't current anymore, of course, because they, you know, want their $125 a class now. But it's an insurance-driven deal, so, you know, there are guys out there that can inform customers, you know, about depreciated value, and I've run into that situation myself where, you know, I've bought a car that's been repaired, and you know, you Carfax it, and you know, they pull up the repair order on the car, and it's got an aftermarket fender here and a repair here and a repair there, and suddenly the car's not worth any money. So, you know, the insurance company doesn't adjust your premium after your car's repaired. So basically, you should have a Carfax done after your car is repaired, when the claim is paid, and then, you know, maybe negotiate your premium if your car's not going to be worth the same, because that accident does count against the car. If you don't believe me, you guys out there that have tried to trade your car in that's had a repair on it, that repair comes back, and it doesn't matter who did the repair, how good they were, or how certified they were. It's a mark on the car. So the more new parts, the more original OEM parts that you can have put on your car when you have it repaired, the more value the repair has. Not to say that that same technician, you know, using aftermarket parts or repairing a panel, the repair might not be as good looking on a sheet, you know, when you Carfax it, as if you put all new parts on it, is all I'm saying. So it's just something to consider, and it's good knowledge to have. As soon as you mention depreciated value, of course, you know, if the accident was your fault, you really don't have a whole lot of leverage. But if you happen to get into an accident and it's not your fault, these are all things that you want to bring up, because it can affect you long after the accident when you go to trade your car in, and you realize that, you know, not only did you suffer a loss when you had the accident, but, you know, down the road that, you know, your car's not going to be worth the same amount if it wasn't in the accident. So, and that depreciated value is also recovered. You can get that at the time of the accident if you argue it. So that's a little tip. I learned that from an old guy, little independent guy in town. Had a shop, and he used to bust the insurance adjuster's balls, man. He had it down to a T. He had 3 buildings, and you had your car go into the first building, and that was the preliminary tear down area, and they'd tear it down, and they wouldn't move to building B until they settled on a price, and he would get every penny he wanted. And he was a real interesting guy. But they have pro shops, and he called his shops "We Know Shop." So he was an advocate for the owner of the car, and he would inform him on every little thing, man. What do you think about that, Black Cat? So anyway, I know how it is when you work somewhere and you have to do stuff the way they want to do it, you know, but I don't work anywhere, so, you know, I just do stuff the way I want to do it, and I just make the videos to make them. So you guys don't have to do it like I do it, and, you know, you do it however you want to do it. I'm just showing you how I do it, and that's all. You know, that's what it is, man. It is what it is. Everybody's got a little different flavor, you know, and that's what makes the world turn, dude. So me and Black Cat are cutting this one loose. 19 minutes. It's gonna take a day, and it'll take about a day to upload this. So, yep. Andrea had a purse party, and she's passed out in there, I think. We went to the church thing this morning, first thing. So everybody's tired and sleeping. Just me and the Black Cat. I think Hans might be awake in here. I don't know what he's doing. Planning his next carpentry job. He seems to be into that for sure. So that's cool. Crash and burn. Alright, we gotta get some shims out. This is a GM. I don't know where all that stuff goes, so I had nuts and bolts for this, and they're in nice little Ziploc bags somewhere in this garage. But I don't know where it's at. And here, Matt, you'll really like this one. I was just sitting there thinking, and you know how you misplace stuff? Well, I don't know if you do this, but this is like from the brain damage. But I just remembered that I bought a rotating assembly for a big block Chevrolet. I have a set of aluminum rods and a set of pistons, a set of pins, and a flex plate and a rattler balancer somewhere in here. But I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm thinking I might have lost that stuff. And yeah, so I'll be hunting for that stuff. It's really cool stuff. When I find it, I'll do a video on it if I find it. So, all right, let me go on the treasure hunt.